Kennon.
Bryan. Good to see you, bro. Oh, sorry.
Hey, listen, I haven't told you, but I'm just so incredibly proud of you and Kenzie, all that you've built. This place is incredibly beautiful, dude. Well done.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like I couldn't have done it without you.
Oh, I'm sure you could have. You guys are incredible entrepreneurs.
Oh, man.
Here's the thing. I want to get your latte art up to speed. So I don't want to show you. Can we get you pouring some latte art today?
Let's do this. Let's do this. Latte art from the master himself. Come on.
Look at these little beauties right here. Okay, that's perfect. Grab one for yourself too.
Okay, let's do it. We're gonna hop in there. Oh, look who it is.
Reed,
what's up, man? Good to see you.
How old are you? It's good to see you. Both of you?
I know.
What's your favorite drink?
Man, whatever you're making.
Yeah, well then that's what we're gonna do, a little barista's choice. So here's the cool thing, I'm showing Kennon how to do some latte art. So maybe Kennon mixes some flavors in for his and he'll have a little signature flavor. I'm gonna do the same thing. We call this a barista's choice. So this is gonna be a dirty chai.
How did you describe that?
It's literally like a warm blanket out of the dryer on a cold, cold day. So one thing I like to do, it's called not interrupting the shot. It's gonna go straight in and then we'll start cooking it up.
He's like a Jedi master.
Oh, honestly, it smells amazing.
It actually does smell really good.
What in the world? There's a method to the madness. You got to make sure every morsel is melted down. I want to have these bubbles settle, so I'm going to go ahead and steam some incredible milk and let those bubbles pop. And then this is the key. You remember the rotation of the milk.
The swirl.
Yep. You're listening to the sound. You want that little Morse code, it blends it into some beautiful micro foam. You can almost tell by the sound when it's ready. There it is. You heard the sound change. Again, bubbles. I don't like the bubbles. I'm gonna swirl it, but then I'm gonna smash it, get the bubbles out. The key here, start high. See how nothing's appearing? Start high. And when it's game time, you go low and you just kind of gently get in there. Boom. Level her out and then pull right through, buddy.
Perfect.
And ready for action. Get in there.
Wow.
What birthed the idea of Ebony and Ivory? Like, when did you know we have to open a coffee shop? This is what it's gonna be called.
I wasn't the one who really wanted Ebony and Ivory at first.
That's right. I remember you saying that.
Even when Kenzie told me about the name Ebony and Ivory, I was like, that's not a good name. I was pretty anti Ebony and Ivory at first. How long ago did we start working together?
Well, you tell me, man.
5 years. I think we probably originally reached out 2019.
Okay.
Started working with you officially 2020.
Unreal.
A long time ago.
Wow. That sound. Whoop. Whoop, 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 whoop. Oh.
Are we in there?
Blend it. Yeah, just chill it right there.
There it is.
Hold it steady. Trust the process here, my friend.
All right. I'm nervous.
No, you're good.
You want to know something crazy? Just so fast. We have a picture of this right here at our Lacey shop.
No, you don't.
It's your hands and my hands.
Stop it.
And we're doing this exact same thing. It's just like old times. Isn't that crazy?
Perfect. You can't script that. Okay, let's get a pour.
Oh, hold on.
Trust the process. Trust it. Steady and pull through. Okay?
Pretty good, actually.
Like a cactus or a
That's actually the best latte art I've ever done.
Watch yourself. You're going to be heavily caffeinated with those two drinks.
Oh, we're about to do this podcast. I'm going to need it, especially with you two.
Beautiful. I love it.
Hey, nice work.
Awesome.
Great job.
Thanks, man.
Oh.
Guys, thank you for coming. And as I mentioned, two good friends of mine that I met, you 5 years ago. And Kennon, I don't know, the last couple of years we started getting together, spawning ideas, and all of a sudden you're on Tacoma Rising board and you're,
How come I didn't get the invite?
Whoa. I think I did, Bryan.
No, I'm teasing.
I'm pretty sure you
My
were
phone
like,
must have been broken that day.
no, I'm pretty sure you said, hey man, I'm really busy.
Yeah, no, I'm teasing. I'm playing Reed.
I don't know the answer to that one.
I haven't been called out on my own podcast in a while. That's the first question, right out of the gate.
I'm sorry. I'll stick to the script.
No, I love it. That's a good question. Do you want to be on the board at Tacoma Rising?
Yes.
Oh shoot.
In 2028.
Hey, there you go.
You're always welcome. You're always welcome.
Thank you,
bro. So, all right. So I know how I met you guys. How did you two meet? Because that's a really interesting story. Because I had no idea that you guys knew each other, and I recently ran into you at Ebony and Ivory, and you guys are dapping it up and talking. I was like, oh, I didn't know you guys knew each other. I should have, because obviously you're both powerhouses in the coffee industry. But how did you guys meet?
Kenny, you got it.
Yeah, it's so funny, man.
You got to tell the story.
Back in 2018, I was doing a web series called This is Thurston, where I was interviewing different people around Thurston County. And the videographer that I worked with, I had told him, I was like, hey, you know, I kind of want to open a coffee shop. And he's like, oh, dude, there's this super cool spot in Puyallup. It's called Anthem Coffee. And I know the owner of Anthem. I could connect you guys. You should go to Anthem and check it out one of these days. So I went there, and I saw Bryan. It's so funny. I saw Bryan inside of Anthem in Puyallup, and I was like, there he is. That's the guy. And I was starstruck, like literally. And so I just turned around, left, went back home, didn't say a word. I texted my buddy and was like, hey, I went to Anthem, super cool spot. You should maybe like connect me via text with the owner. I'd love to meet him someday. And he connected us, and the rest was kind of history.
Yeah, I remember, the first time we connected together, hearing yours and your wife's vision for what you wanted to do. Open a coffee shop, build community. And you had this name, Ebony and Ivory. And then the tagline, together in perfect harmony. I just thought, this is perfect. I love this. And so, it was perfect timing when you reached out, because I had been working with other coffee shop businesses to help them launch their business, kind of do some consulting. I was speaking and touring with Coffee Fest at the time, and just had this great passion and love for helping other people's dreams to become reality. So specifically in the coffee niche. And so this was like perfect timing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had Anthem Coffee School.
That's right.
And we wanted to do that. And we had, one of the first times we talked to you, we were like, how can we get involved with Anthem Coffee School? And you were like, oh, it doesn't exist anymore. And we were like, oh no, what are we going to do? And then we ended up actually working together, and yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
How did you guys both choose coffee, though? Like, what brought you guys both to coffee? Bryan, you go first.
Man, yeah, I mean,
you've been doing it a little longer.
A couple of decades now. So I tell the story, ours was really a purpose-driven, passion-driven type reason we got into the coffee business. But I didn't grow up drinking coffee in my household. Like, my parents never drank it. The only experience I had with coffee was like when we would visit my grandparents in California. It smelled like something I'd never smelled before, old people and Folgers. So that was not something I was attracted to. Coffee didn't resonate. But there was this day that I was working 3 jobs at the time. I was working at Best Buy as a bank teller. And then some friends said, you should get a job at a double-sided drive-through coffee stand. I hear the tips are excellent. And I was trying to save money for an engagement ring to propose to my junior high sweetheart. So I get this job, and all I drink is hot chocolates. I got hot chocolates with raspberry, hot chocolates with vanilla. I hit it with the hot chocolate with the English toffee. This one particular day, it was an Irish cream hot chocolate. Delicious, by the way. But what blew my mind was the team member, my team members I was working with, they accidentally put 2 shots of espresso, and it became an Irish cream mocha. And all of a sudden, my brain, it was like, I could see the future, and I'm like, whoa, like, you know how caffeine hits? It's like, man, this is amazing. I'm flying. So, that was kind of this birth of excitement around coffee. And like I said, Anthem was born out of this passion and purpose, where my parents decided that they would answer the call to adopt. So they fostered 8 kids, adopted 4 of them. And our hope as a family was to get my dad to retire sooner, to be more involved and invested in those kids' lives. My 3 sisters and brother that came into our world. And my wife threw the idea out, let's open a coffee shop. And so December 8th of 2006, we did, and had no idea what we were doing. But as a family, we kind of built this thing tile by tile, brick by brick. And here we are today, 8 stores in 2 different states, and just trying to show heroic hospitality and show people how to live loud and love louder. So
I love your motto and the slogan, everything behind it. I've always just read and be like, man, that's good, man. It's really, really good. And before I jump in, one question, Anthem.
Yeah.
You told me a story about the name, where it came from. I don't know what it's called, the horn,
the megaphone.
The megaphone.
Yeah.
Oh, that's easy. Where did Anthem and why did you choose Anthem and the megaphone as your brand?
Well, every morning during the weekdays, the line would back up at our store, and you'd have people trying to catch the train, people trying to get to school. And there was always this little kid with a backpack, not paying attention in line, as you know, we would always call the line. So I'd be like, "What's up, Reed? What you getting your usual today?" And then I'd be like, "Kennon, what you drinking, man?" He'd be like, "Caramel macchiato." And I'd be like, "Sweet." And then I'd go, "How about you in the backpack, young man? What can we get?" And he's like, you know, twiddling or whatever, can't get his attention. Mm-hmm. So I happened to be at Ross one day, you know, so Ross Dress for Less, and in the $9.99 bin is this battery powered megaphone, dude. And I go, I see it, and it's an aha moment. And I go, I'm gonna use this next morning at 6 a.m. and I'm just gonna call the line this way, and I'm gonna shout out people's names and drinks. "Oh, Kennon, I got your caramel macchiato." Mm-hmm. So that morning came, and it's 6 a.m. and the line's backing up in the store, and I start shouting out, you know, "Hey, what you drinking? Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome in. We'll be right with you." And it was this moment when I shouted at the young man and couldn't get his attention, and he looked up, and just the whole like line of people started laughing, and kind of it just built this energy and uniqueness. Like, who in the world is this? Guy's out of his mind. It's 6 a.m. and you're yelling at me through a megaphone. And so throughout the years, we would shout out different. Hey guys, just so you know, as you're waiting in line, we'll be with you shortly. But here's a tweet from, you know, one of the most popular artists or superstars, and you know, and we would just shout things out, random stuff, just to entertain and have fun. We named our company Anthem because it's like, what's your anthem? What's your passion? What's your purpose? And the hope is to really just help people discover their anthem and live life to the fullest. I love that. This is another good story. I remember you telling me a portion of that, but you didn't give me all the details. That's hilarious. Mm-hmm. I love that. It's ridiculous. A great, and it's early community building right there. Yeah, that was super fun. What about you? Yeah. And what drew you guys to coffee?
Yeah, so my wife Kenzie was actually she was a barista for a while, and kind of just worked her way up in the coffee world, and started as a barista. Then she became a manager of one location, and then she was managing multiple locations, and kind of wanted to go to even the next level. And we were talking about it, and we were like, there's only really one other level that you can go to once you're managing multiple locations. The next thing is like, well, why don't you just own your own? And we were having that conversation 2018, 2019, and we finally pulled the trigger kind of beginning of 2020, found a coffee shop for sale, and we bought it. And then like right after we bought it, COVID hit, and we were like, oh no, we just made the worst mistake ever. And we spent all of our money on this coffee shop, and like there's nobody to serve coffee to. And we totally freaked out for a second and thought that our dreams were dead. But you know, we started talking to Bryan actually, and he kind of lifted our spirits, and we ended up opening the coffee shop in March of 2021. And it's just been going ever since. We haven't looked back.
And that's in Olympia? The first one
was Olympia, first one, right? Was in Lacey. And then, and we ended up...
Lacey. Yes.
In Lacey. And then our second one was in Federal Way. Mm-hmm. And our third one... Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it. And then our third one is here in downtown Tacoma.
So mentorship basically kind of started helping you help you through it. We talked about this earlier about, you know, when you're an entrepreneur, it's lonely at the top, right? You don't have a lot of colleagues. What did it mean for you to be able to call Bryan and have someone to lean on and get help when you needed it?
Yeah, it's lonely at the bottom too.
Well, at the bottom,
it's lonely kind of everywhere as an entrepreneur.
You're right.
And you know, the thing that was, I think, the most helpful for us when we were working with Bryan was just we had a cheerleader. Mm-hmm. it wasn't so much the this is step 1 on how to open a coffee shop and step 2 and step 3. It was like, there was days where I'd call Bryan and be like, "Oh my gosh, Bryan, I don't even know what just happened. Somebody just quit. We're going out of business. Like, I don't even know." And he'd be like, "No, man, you got this. It's all good." He's like, "I've been there. I've done that. Yeah, he's like, "Yeah, this reminds me of a time back in 2012 when something happened." And it's like, "Oh, okay, so this is like a normal thing.
A walk through the snow, uphill both ways."
It's like, okay, it's no big deal. And so that was something that really helped us out, was just kind of having somebody who had walked through that before and could kind of just cheer us on and let us know that we're doing okay. So,
man, I want to jump in on that too. I think what's interesting is that I was actually going through the hardest time in my life. Like it was in 2020 through 2023 or so, it was like just every day, every week, there was some kind of new something to roll with. And being in the hospitality industry and having cafes without drive-throughs, like that was a really big challenge for us. So, this was tough for me, but one thing I learned is that what pulled me out of a funk, or just kind of being, in the doldrums about it all and the challenges that we were facing, was to just be able to support or serve or give or connect with somebody else. And so, the other piece of this is I believe, this is what I do with like any partner, client, team, whatever company that I'm working with, is we focus in the very beginning about nailing down your guiding principles, right? Your mission, your vision, your values. And because it's not a matter of if, but when life happens, you got to have something that's more powerful to kind of pull you through. And so I remember referring back to those that you guys had established on paper and on purpose. And that was kind of how I encouraged and cheerleaded and said, "Look, man, this is what you do. So we'll change how it looks to build community." I think maybe you were doing this beforehand, but maybe that's what birthed some of the pop-up shops and the events that you would do to kind of gather outside and showcase local merchants and things. I know we did that. That was a page out of our playbook too. All we could do is other small businesses were going out of business because they had no events to do anything at. So, but it helped me just as much as I may have helped you. I want you to know that. And I think that's an important thing about mentorship and even collaboration. Those times we needed each other probably more than we realized. And the other entrepreneurs and business leaders we were working with or hanging with, more than we could have ever needed them at any given time. So
I've used both of you in that way multiple times, where I send you videos and ideas. I'm like, hey, even with name branding and stuff, because like it's hard when you are responsible for a lot of things and you've got to think through stuff, and you want some outside perspective. And those moments where someone tells you something, you're like, why didn't I think of that? Well, because you're in your own way and you can't see it, but someone else can. And that's why and to me, that's why it's important. Having it's, whether it's a mentor or a colleague or somebody there in your corner. That's why I have a board for Tacoma Rising. Because it's free labor, but mostly because of, I'm kidding.
Good to know. Thanks, man.
I saw Quentin back there light up on that. Yeah, he saw that. No, but no, it's because like, I feel like I have good ideas, but I know there's holes, and I have bad ideas too. And it's good to have those those people there that's going to tell you like, I wouldn't do that, or that's a great idea, but what if you do this? Or, that conversation is hard to find. And not that I want to go on the lows right now. Worst day. Do you guys have a worst day that you can remember that you're willing to share?
I'm going to let Kennon think about this while I say this. I'm too positive all the time, so it'll take me a minute. So I'm buying time as I even say this.
Yeah.
But I'm like, man, I often would say this because when times get tough, I'm like, man, I should just be a greeter at Costco or something. And I'm like,
thrown in the town.
That would be nice some days, right? Just to do that. But then I'd follow it up and go, my worst day at Anthem is probably better than the best day I could ever spend at Costco greeting people. Only because, like, if I zoom out, then it kind of puts things into perspective like that, right? So thank God the good far outweighs the bad in business. At least in my case, I can only speak, I guess, to my experience, but the worst days are really just, I think they're behind us. I think I covered a little bit about, the COVID era and all that kind of stuff. That was really tricky, really tough, really difficult.
But you think your worst days came right after COVID?
I think it was through that. I think every day through that. Like, it was really, really
it's a tie,
challenging.
basically. Because it was tough.
What's crazy is we had this growth phase that led right up to 2020, to March of 2020. A growth phase. I'm talking about our first location we had just for 5 years, right? So we had only one store that we were operating for the first 5 years. The next 5 years, we only added one store. So now we're operating 2 stores for a decade. But then we had this acceleration, like leading up, I want to say 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, I guess it was more so the 2017, 18, 19, where we had explosive growth. We had been focusing on building people within our organization, building leaders. We had no place for our leaders to go, so they were going to other companies. So we're like, man, we should scale and grow. So we got connected with a real estate broker here. Shout out Justin Holmes. And I remember this really closely. Like, he brought opportunities and locations to us all the time. And about every 3 to 5 months, we were opening a location. So all of our financial outgo went into growth, never expecting something like 2020 to happen. So once that hit, all the confidence that kind of pushed us along, all the leadership, chops, even just the energy of the brand came to a screeching halt. And I mean, I'm telling you, there were some dark days and really tough times. And it's because of the power of community and other people reaching out, going, how can I add value to your life in this season, Bryan? Like, unbeknownst to me, I'll never forget, Chris from Bee Kings. This is a fast story, I promise, Reed.
No,
Chris from Bee Kings Honey, he calls me up out of the blue, says, Bryan, I want to build a website for you, and I want to handle all of your shipping and fulfillment of coffee beans, because since your stores are closed, I can't get your coffee. Selfishly, I want to be able to order it online and have it shipped to my door. So I filmed a ridiculous little iPhone video commercial in my house promoting Anthem at your door.
Ooh.
He builds a website for us, and he inspired me. He helped me kind of get out of this funk by having something to pursue in that season. And it spurred on so many other beautiful community collaborative things, like just supporting local businesses and other initiatives that came out of that. But then that one thing alone helped us to sell some beans and kind of have some revenue coming in, and people got to have Anthem at home during that season. So that's my story.
Yeah.
Your darkest days, bud. Let's hear it.
Man, well, for us, I think for most entrepreneurs, they're going to say something like, oh, I had a really just bad day at work, or, we lost money for however long or whatever. But I got to tell you about my Aunt Beth. So before we opened Ebony and Ivory, my Aunt Beth, was a very close relative of mine, she was like one of our very first supporters of Ebony and Ivory. Me and Kenzie were young. This was going to be our first business. A lot of people are kind of like, I don't know if you guys should, venture into that. And Aunt Beth was always like, no, you got to do it. You got to do it for sure. And she had just retired from the Postal Service. She was a mail carrier for 30 years. And she asked us one day, she was like, can I work at your coffee shop? Like, could I be a barista? And we were like, well, we haven't opened yet. Like, you're 60 years old. Like, are you sure? Like, we're like, I guess, like, sure. So she was the very first person that we hired. And
I remember Aunt Beth.
Yeah. So, very first person we hired, and we had 2 other people on the team, and then me and Kenzie. So just total 5 of us, and just very, hometown coffee shop. Everybody kind of knew everybody. And Aunt Beth was like, she was the life of the party. I mean, like, people literally came to Ebony and Ivory in the early days to see Aunt Beth, because she was just full of life, just awesome. Well, Aunt Beth wasn't feeling good at work one day, and she, called us and was like, hey, I'm not feeling that good. I think I'm going to go to the doctor. She goes to the doctor and finds out that she has stage 4 brain cancer. And 2 months after finding out, she had passed away. And it was that, like, navigating that was a very dark time for Ebony and Ivory, because it was like, you have employees who are just like, man, we lost a great friend. We lost a great coworker to somebody who just uplifts everybody around her. And we had customers who were like, this is just absolutely devastating. And so navigating that was tough. I mean, that was by far the hardest thing we've ever dealt with. So that was.
I'm sorry, man.
Those were the darkest days. But let me turn that around a little bit. Aunt Beth was somebody, we talked about guiding principles, mission, vision, values earlier. And Aunt Beth was somebody who just was a perfect example of all of the guiding principles for Ebony and Ivory. Our mission is to create community and be a welcoming and comforting presence within our community. And Aunt Beth was just the perfect example of that. And so at first it was just really hard to, navigate all of that. But then I kind of remembered, or realized, I guess, Aunt Beth would want us to continue doing what we're doing because we're doing some good stuff, and she would want us to continue creating community in a way that really brings people together, in a way that is welcoming and comforting to all the people around us. And it kind of gave us a new energy of like everything we're building. Like even recently, we just bought a restaurant, and the other day I was like, I wonder what Aunt Beth. I asked Kenzie, I was like, I wonder what Aunt Beth would have thought about this. It's like
champion it.
Yeah,
for
she
sure.
totally would have. And it's kind of like, it gives us this energy of like, Aunt Beth is like always with us, and we do the best we can to kind of like make her proud and like have her legacy live on a little bit. So even in the dark stuff, there's a way we can kind of turn around and make some light out of it.
That's a really good story. Yeah. Guys, tell me about your best day in business.
Man, like best day in sales, best day
when you look back, like
get kind of deal.
Yeah, like I mean,
every day is the best day,
right?
Listen, we're in the coffee business.
Fair enough.
There's a lot of good days for sure.
Make coffee for a living. I got to tell you, like, I say this all the time as I teach and train our team. When the open signs come on, we're hosting a party, and everyone is invited. Like, come one, come all. It's game time. So we really are just party hosts every day. Come into our space. Come into our home. Come experience heroic hospitality. And people ask, do you brew coffee at home? Do you no? I can't wait to wake up and drive to Anthem and stand in line and place an order and interact and see the community, whatever, and get a drink. And it's like, man, that's every day is such a joy. And I really have a philosophy of every day is day one. There's even from the worst days, the things that I'm learning from that, to the best days, I still reflect and go, man, I want to do more of that. Whatever, some things clicked today. It worked really well today. So let's do more of that. Like I really am paying attention to that and trying to be a lifelong learner and student day in, day out.
Kennon, best day.
Yeah, best day, man.
All of them.
There's just so many really great days. We get to do this.
Oh,
right?
I love that. You're so right.
I learned that one from you, Brian.
I was like, are you going to say the same thing?
It's brilliant. It's just
we get to
it's
do
a way
this.
of thinking. Instead of saying, I have to do this.
How about I ask this question? Tell me a time or a moment where you're like, man, I'm so glad I do this. That was worth it. And I'm sure there's a lot of them. Give me an example of one that you're like, wow, that's incredible.
There was a time, or there was a day where I would say that was like probably the best day. And that was, we after we had opened location number 2, sales kind of went down and things got a little wonky for a second, and we had to take on a bunch of debt, like a whole bunch of debt. And the day came where we paid all of that debt off in one day, like one big chunk, paid the whole thing off. That was the best day.
Awesome.
Oh, it was the best. Actually, I don't know if that was the best day or it might have been like a month after when we like didn't have a
debt service.
ginormous debt payment. Oh. And we just got to keep all that. Mm-hmm. It was like, that's a great day.
That's an even better day than that day. Yeah.
So, like, I would say, when that happened, I mean, the first couple of years were pretty rough, but then we got to that, and it was like, okay, like now that was the day where I was like, now we can start actually doing what we want to do.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's a great feeling.
That reminds me of a great day that I'm reflecting on, is when we hosted our first annual Live Loud Music and Arts Festival. And I remember, 5 8-foot by 8-foot blank canvases at the start of the day. We had live music all day long, local merchants and vendors popping up at our Tacoma location outside, the History Museum there. And by the end of the day, those 8-foot by 8-foot canvases had works of art painted on them as music played, as community just happened. I remember, and there's pictures where my mom and dad and I are just kind of like looking over and just enjoying the community. And like, that's it. We've just always set out to create unique experiences that change lives and bring people back. And so the crux of that was just events or experiences, man, just hoping to create joy and excitement and build community. So fun.
You hit on what I want to go next to, is community. Yeah. Built community. And for me, if you were to ask me what would be my best day or best moments, it's when I open up a co-working space and people walk through and tour and they're like, wow, this is great. Like, I mean, the design process, the construction process, all the things, I mean, it's months and months of work. And as it's coming together, I get to watch it kind of unfold. But the best part is when you get to tour someone through, or when Becca walks by and I can hear them, I'm like, let me hear it. And they're like, I love this space. I'm like, oh man, that feels good. That's like, when you build something that people get to enjoy is my favorite thing. That's why community is like, that's my favorite. And that's why I'm digging into we're going into the community. Like, I love building community. That's what I do and everything I do. And I feel you guys do the same thing. Tell me how you guys build community. What do you guys do to build community?
Man. Well, I mean, even just literally physical spaces that people can enjoy. The most important things happen in those spaces. People meet and fall in love. They sign papers for their first home. Bands are formed. Businesses are formed. Ideas are scratched on notepads. Art is being created. It's like, we create a place where community can just flourish, right?
So much happens in a coffee shop.
Yeah. So much does. I remember the earliest days just hosting live music nights, and even back, this will age me, but back when The Office was so popular, that show, we would have office watch parties. Yes. And so anything to just get people together and connect on, like things that each of us enjoy together, just common grounds. So that's what it's been. That's what we've done. And that's what we'll always continue to do is have these spaces. That's what gives me the most joy too. Yeah. Walking in, seeing community in action, just happening. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I agree.
So, it's so funny because, people ask me often, how did you guys get to 3 coffee shops in 3 years? And, that's so crazy. And I tell them all the time, it's not about the coffee at all. It's not. We are, 40 minutes from Seattle, the coffee capital of the world, right. Birthing place of Starbucks. And, there's a coffee shop on every corner here in the Northwest, not just Tacoma, but really in all of the Northwest. Everywhere. And there's a lot of places you can go to get a great cup of coffee. But at Ebony and Ivory, again goes back to guiding principles on the day, or one of the very first things that we thought about when starting Ebony and Ivory is, what is this place going to be? What is our mission? And it is to be a welcoming and comforting presence in our community, and to create community. And that's what it's all about. So when you walk in the doors of Ebony and Ivory, a barista, it doesn't matter what location you're at, a barista is going to greet you. It's going to be the very first thing. Before they even ask you about your drink, what are you going to order, they're probably going to ask you how your day's going. They're going to ask you what your name is, what are you doing today, something like that. And then they're going to get your drink, and that's going to be like the least important part of your entire interaction at Ebony and Ivory. Okay. It's all about connecting with people. It really has nothing to do with the actual product that we sell, though the product is great. Sometimes I actually, we had an entire team meeting about this one time where we discussed, what is the product of Ebony and Ivory? I actually don't even think it's coffee. I don't think people are coming to Ebony and Ivory for coffee. There's actually better coffee in Tacoma than Ebony and Ivory. Our product is good, but people come to Ebony and Ivory because they want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. And Ebony and Ivory gives them that avenue, that outlet to be that. Life can be lonely sometimes, and you want to go somewhere where everybody knows your name. And Ebony and Ivory is that place.
That's my favorite part about getting coffee, is because they know my name. Every one of them. And I don't know their name, and I feel guilty every time. But when I walk in, they go, "Hey, what can I do for you, Reed?" I'm like, that's my favorite part, because they know who I am.
Isn't that cool?
That's what I remember the most. I don't remember what I order. I don't even know what you have back there, but I know they know who I am.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, one of the best pieces. There's a lot of reasons I come down to Ebony and Ivory, but that's my most memorable piece, is that they know who I am. And I love
100%.
that.
Yeah, love it.
Well said.
Well, we talked about community. Let's talk about influence. Like, you guys are influencers, business community influencers. What does it mean to you to be an influencer? Whether you believe that you are or not, let's assume that I'm right. You guys are influencers, big influencers. What is that? What's that? Is there a responsibility behind that? What does it mean for you guys to be called an influencer?
I think.
Do you feel that way? Do you go?
No.
No. I don't think that enters our minds.
It doesn't.
I'm an influencer, so today I will do X, Y, Z, right? That doesn't ever come across.
Yeah. No, it doesn't. I think for me, I often think about the difference between managing people and leading people. And to me, managing someone is telling somebody what to do. Leading somebody is influencing a person to make the right decisions. And so, I used to be a manager, and I used to just be like, "Hey, I need you to go do this, and you do that," and then blah, blah, blah. And now I realize that it's just like, whatever I do, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to follow what I do. And I'm just thinking my relationship with my team. But I also realize that same could be said about customers and just kind of the overall general public. And so it's not about like an ego thing, or I need to. I really don't even know how to explain it necessarily, but I realize that people are watching what I do, whether I think about that or not, and that is something that I take really, really seriously.
I love that response. For me, it's like, your team members, your customers, your friends, your family specifically, we're influencers to all of those communities that matter so much to us, right? And for me, again, it's never thinking I'm an influencer, so I'm going to do X, Y, Z.
Mm-hmm.
And but rather it's, how can I add value to whoever I'm in front of, or wherever I'm at, or wherever I go, really? And that's my hope and my shtick. And what's been so fun for me, I started getting really visible online, and we're talking, okay, there's not that big of an audience of people that follow me, but through Anthem even, and just personally, I was sharing kind of business principles over 40 days straight of, I would do Facebook Lives, and I would talk about something I'm either learning or a business concept or whatever. And there were several people that had been inspired from that to go and start their own businesses. And that's how I want to be remembered. Like I want to leave a legacy of just, man, that guy added value wherever he went. That guy encouraged me, uplifted me. That guy was a cheerleader for me, and that's kind of how I want to show up in this world. That's my anthem,
Mm-hmm. I just think that what you guys do and all the things that you do, the communities you're building, the businesses that you're pushing, the people you help, you're influencing like communities, and your names come up. People know who you are because you're doing really, really good things, positive things. And that's why you're here, because you guys are from this area doing really, really good things. And I think you are inspiring. Like I said earlier, I call you guys when I have an issue or I'm like, I got to talk to somebody. Kennon, how many times do I call you when I've got a problem? I'm like, man, I got to talk to Kennon about this. Or I call you. I don't call you as much as I call Kennon. You're lucky. But point being is that like you're friends of mine, your colleagues, but you guys influence me. Like I'm thinking through stuff. I'm like, what would Bryan do? That's like every night when I go, what would Bryan do? But I think it's really important to talk about that because it's really impactful. And I want to leave today with like a message. If you could give younger business, like someone maybe in high school or someone that's coming up that's like, I really want to start a business, what would you tell them? What would you say to them if they have a passion and they want to do something with it? What would you tell them? That's a loaded question.
Honestly, for anyone listening out there that's young, ambitious, interested in starting their own business, or I think that you nailed it first. First things first, figure out what you're passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll go back to it. What's your anthem? What's your passion?
Right.
And then go and serve. Like serve it. If you're into automotive stuff, go see if you could serve as a high school student. Like I wish I would have had the audacity actually to go and pursue things that I was passionate about at a young age and see if I actually liked it. And I would have shown up now, like my older version of me would have told my younger version of me, go show up at the place, explore it, ask questions, see if you could buy that person lunch, or spend time there just volunteering to see if that's really going to be something you could see yourself doing for the rest of your days. And I would just say, give, and add as much value as you possibly can, because however that looks, if you're not self-centered as a young one, but aware of your surroundings and those that are in front of you, and you can help other people rise. I'll leave you with this quote. A dear friend of mine, Bryson Foster, shared this with me. He said, man, if you spend your life building other people's platforms, you'll always have one.
Mm-hmm.
And so that would be the piece of advice I'd leave you with.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's
I love
great.
that.
I'm reminded of that all the time.
You got to follow that up. Good luck.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, to a younger aspiring entrepreneur, somebody who's just getting started, don't look at somebody's end game and think that's where you're going to start. That's a really difficult thing to do, because even, people look at what I've done with Ebony and Ivory, and it's, how'd you build 3 locations in 3 years? It's like, well, it started kind of way back when I was a kid pulling weeds for people because I was trying to save some money. And that's like, it's hard to really explain like how we got to 3 locations in 3 years without going back like 15 years and telling you the actual like origin stories and roots and where I came from and, belief systems and all of that. So don't look at somebody's end game and think that's where you're going to start. And then the other thing I would say is patience.
That's good.
Patience.
It's important.
It's probably going to take longer than you think to become successful. If you want to own a coffee shop, for instance, this is just an example. If you want to own a coffee shop, it might start as you being a barista, and then it might go into you owning like a coffee cart and doing some pop-up events, and then you get some rinky-dink coffee shop that, you know, needs to be fixed up, and you do that for 5 years, and then, you know, 10 years later you build a really cool, awesome place that everybody wants to hang out at. It's realistic for something to take that long. Sometimes there's certain things that might happen where it doesn't take that long, but I would say patience is certainly key.
So good. I agree. I'm going to end with today on the one thing I would say is find a way to make failure your friend. Because
I love that you said that.
If you are afraid to fail, you'll never succeed. And the best way you'll ever learn is from failure. I mean, the amount of times I've failed on stuff, like the goal is that you win more than you fail. That's how you stay afloat. But like that is one thing that I feel like failure keeps people from doing things. But if you can become friends and accept that, hey, it's going to happen. What else is there? There's nothing to be afraid of.
That, I always say failure has been my greatest professor in life.
There you go. That's another.
And I teach my boys that, and it's like, man, it's okay to fail as long as you fail forward, right?
Yep.
And that you don't fail at the same stuff over and over and over and over again. Learn something.
You learn. That's how you learn.
Failures been a great teacher.
Or learn best, in my opinion. Yeah. Guys,
I always say it's okay to make as many mistakes as possible, but it's not a failure unless you didn't learn from it.
Bingo.
That's even better. Gosh, now I got to change my answer. Kennon, come on, man. Guys, this was incredible. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm so excited as we like move down like our careers and stuff. I can't wait to do more stuff with you guys. This was awesome. And I, again, can't thank you enough for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us, man. Appreciate it
We really
so
believe
much.
in you and all that you're doing. So thank you for having us and great questions. And
say more.
I'll be ready to jump on that board in 2028 for you.
There you go.
Love it. All right, guys.
Awesome. Thank you.